Hi, I'm Paul.
I'm Daniel.
And today we're talking about social awkwardness.
Am I? I don't know. Maybe.
Social situations can bring about that feeling of awkwardness. You can feel a bit shy. You can feel about you're not quite sure what to say. How do you feel generally in big sort of social situations where you've got to meet a lot of people? Do you ever feel awkward?
Well, you sort of hear people say the older you get, the more confident you get in your skin. I've found it to be the opposite, I think, because I've sort of explored different areas of my life and gone down paths that I didn't expect to when I was younger and dealing with certain confidence issues that, a big social situation, there's something comforting about knowing you're going with a friend. Like, oh, is that person going to be there? I'll walk in and I'll bomb straight to them. But there are occasions when I found that, oh, I don't know a single person here. So you just kind of go and like hover in the corner.
If you were, for example, starting a new school, how would you sort of go about calming yourself down or building your confidence in that situation?
Well, I think the cliche is that everyone else is in the same boat. They're all going to feel the same as you. But I actually never found that comforting. So when I went to university, my first lecture, I actually made a couple of friends on Facebook before going through a group saying, oh, we're doing the same course. One of the people who I made friends with, I messaged and said, are you going to that induction thing? We'd never met before. And he said, yeah. I said, would you be interested in meeting up outside? He said, yes. He's now one of my best friends. We're going on holiday next week. Like, it's taking that sort of leap of faith of going like, this could pay off and maybe that will help me going in. If that's not an option for you, if that's something that you don't think that you can do, it's just one of those things where you kind of have to sort of like take a breath, let in the fear for a moment, and then remember that the worst that can happen is you go in there, you don't meet anybody and you leave.
If people don't accept me for who I am, then, what can you do? You can only do your best. You can be the nicest person you can be.
The likelihood is it's going to be the most uneventful thing you've ever been through.
And the more situations that happen to you as you get older and through life, the more, although it can still be tricky, the more you sort of get used to that experience. What other sort of awkward social situations are there? How about, I don't know, like a party with loads of relatives or family people you've not met before? The small talk, the etiquette.
Oh, small talk is my least
kiss.
best one, I tell you. So I actually went to a party this time last year with some of my closest friends, my favourite people in the world. And I had had a long week at work and I was done. I just couldn't. And I got to the party and I stepped in and I was like, oh, I don't want to be here. And so I was just kind of hovering around the room, and every time someone even dared to consider broaching the topic of what I was working on, I was like, I'm out and would leave. I kind of had to remember two things. First of all, they're asking that question to be nice because they're genuinely interested in you. Even if the answer is, oh, I'm kind of between things at the moment, I'm sort of taking it easy. And then you can turn the question back on them, or you can say, did you see this piece of news the other day? And you can talk about the news or something, or I don't know, rather than just thinking, why is this person asking me that question? Or if you go to dinner with some people who you vaguely know, but you don't really know, you're at a dinner party and you're put next to someone who is kind of a vague acquaintance at best. Don't be afraid of just sort of going, tell me about yourself. Tell me how many sisters you've got, how many brothers you've got, where did you grow up? And we'll talk about that rather than the most basic small talk, I think.
Because they'll be grateful for that, I'm sure, because they're probably feeling exactly the same as you are.
Yeah, and that's the thing of us all being in the same boat. Like, while it isn't necessarily comforting to think that, it is true.
Sometimes you're just not feeling in a social mood.
It's really okay to not feel it sometimes. If you're not feeling it all the time, that's something that perhaps you might want to address. If you were to have a stomach flu, you wouldn't go to a party. If you're thinking, I'm not mentally capable for this kind of interaction today, on this one occasion, that's completely fine. And you should not beat yourself up about that. Let that in. I have major FOMO. So usually I see people having fun together and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not having fun with my friends. On a couple of occasions recently, I've decided to not go to something, seen the pictures and gone, I made the right choice.
We've all had a really awkward situation that we can't forget, and we play it out in our mind, and you'd be lying there.
You said something and you think, oh no, how did they take it? And then
and you're like, why did I do that? And then you're in bed.
Regular.
And
Sometimes with people who are that close to you, you can say something that you think landed slightly wrong in the room and just obsess over it for even days and think, oh no, what do they think about me? Will we be friends after this? Like, what's happening? Odds are no one has even noticed, but you have built it up to be this massive thing in your head that the next time you go on an interaction, you're on the watch for doing that and you're not really behaving like yourself. And in a way, you can twist that to be positive for you. So if you think that you have behaved a certain way and perhaps gotten a little bit too defensive over something, again, odds are no one else has thought that. But if you think you have, then maybe you can sit there and go, okay, well, why did I react that defensively? And why was I that, guarded, or what caused me to behave that way? And maybe I can sort of have a think about that and change that the next time. I recognize that situation again and avoid this problem.
What are your 3 top tips for dealing with awkward social situations?
Taking a deep breath, sort of maybe even before each step. I'm about to go out. Okay, cool. Move forward. Here I'm at the door. And let's go and let's do it and just deal with it. Try to breathe, because there is something nourishing about breathing, I find. This is why yoga is so great, because you just have to take lots of deep breaths and think and clear everything out. And it is calming. Then also remember that it is okay to feel that way. So if you are feeling tremendously awkward just before walking into a room, that's completely fine. That's human. And don't allow that thought of I'm feeling so awkward right now to cascade into something bigger. And then the other one is, if you really aren't feeling it on that occasion, be kind to yourself and don't force yourself to do something that you don't want to do. Once in a while, be good to you.
Thank you so much for coming, Daniel.
Thank you very much for having me again.
We
Lots of fun.
Yeah, do come again soon.
Good sofa.
Yeah, no, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's still going. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Goodbye now.